Good morning, everyone. My name is Alia Tayyabi. Welcome to the Citizens Archive of Pakistan's curated dialogue between Pakistan and Afghanistan, where we talk about different books that we read every month. The books that we are supposed to be talking about today are Fearless, Stories of Amazing Women, and 99 Nights in Logar. Both of these books are really amazing, and I cannot wait to get your opinions and ideas about these books as you were reading them and share mine. And Hurmat, I'm sure she's waiting to jump in and talk about the same books as we experienced reading them. So, unfortunately, because of the current pandemic, schools in Pakistan are in a sort of very uncertain conditions. Therefore, we had asked your school partners from Rawalpindi to share their stories with us via WeTransfer as video links. And these stories we will play for you and get them into the conversation, even though they cannot physically be here with us or virtually be here with us because of restrictions on in-person, interaction. So let's start the session. I would love to hear from you folks first, and then we will continue the conversations as you lead. So anybody from your side who'd like to talk about either of the books that you read, we would love to listen.
Great, Ms. Alia. Due to some problems, then February sessions canceled, and the book of that session was Fearless of Studies. So, and the March session also was about to cancel, but fortunately, successfully we are holding this session. And the book is 99 Nights in Logar. As you know, Logar is one of the provinces of Afghanistan. And one of the very we can say important things that I know about Logar is that is the music of Logari, and that is very well known all across Afghanistan and maybe abroad of the country. And so if anybody from Parwan students want to discuss about the Fearless Studies book, please come front of the camera. Here's students. Yeah, much better.
Hello for everyone. This is Masda Qalbi. This is Masda Qalbi from Parwan province, and I hope you'll be fine. And the first book was Fearless, and that was about some of the stories of some women from Pakistan, which were the role model of their country. That was a really interesting book because there's two subjects for me. Because at the first, because it was all about the women in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and their stories were so interesting and really amazing. Some of the times when I read some of this, those stories, it really makes me really amazed, which how they could continue in those bad situations. Thank you.
Could you tell me who was your favorite from the book? Which character or which personality did you really like reading about and you were inspired from? And maybe we can tell you more about them.
I really like all of them, but three of them were very special for me. But as Alina John collected the books, and right now, however, I noticed those names, but right now I couldn't remember them. So if I remember that, I'll tell you.
Okay. Do you know in which field they were from? And maybe I can help narrow it down for you. What were their stories?
First one about the airplane, which she wanted to be the pilot. Yeah.
All right.
The other was author, and the third one was a singer.
Singer. Okay. Was the singer Noor Jahan?
Please remember.
Was that your name? Was she a classical singer?
I can see. What?
Or
Yeah.
maybe she was Noorjahan, or she can be Nazia Hassan as well, because she is
Yeah,
also
yeah,
mentioned in the
Nazia
book.
Hassan. Yeah, she was Nazia
Nazia
Hassan.
Hassan. Yeah,
Ah,
Yeah.
nice. Okay, so you
that is
like
really
Nadia.
nice. Yeah, that is really
Yeah.
nice.
Yes.
Okay, so
And I think I'm sorry for cutting off. And I think the pilot that she mentioned, she might be Shukriya Khanum.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And the author we will narrow down for you amongst the ones that were in the book, and we will talk more. Hurmat, you want to jump in and maybe tell her more about Nazia Hassan and Zoeb Hassan, when they started, what the music was like, and if they're willing, we can play them a small clip of their music.
Oh yeah, we can definitely do that. So I think
And on.
yeah, so I think thank you so much for pointing out Nazia Hassan, because she is a huge pop icon in Pakistan's music industry. Unfortunately, she passed away when she was like in her mid-30s, but she started her career when she was quite young, and she luckily she sang for, her first song was for an Indian film. I think Alia, the song was Aap Jaisa Koi Meri Zindagi Mein Aaye. Yeah, if someone like you comes into my life, then my life will get amazing. That's how it roughly translates. So the song is really popular, and so she and her brother, they formed this music duo which became really popular during late 80s and in the 90s. And their songs are still very popular. And she also became a fashion icon as well, because the fashion during 90s was really hip, and everyone was into, flashy colors. So that was a really good time for Pakistan's music industry. So and Nazia Hassan's songs are still very popular, and everyone loves her, especially from our age group, from Alia's age group. That's all that I can remember. But Alia?
Yeah, so adding on to Nazia Hassan, not only was she a singer, but she was a icon, like Hurmat mentioned. She was also Pakistan's UN ambassador. She unfortunately had cancer, and and at that time, cancer was not very commonly understood in this region, especially in women. And she was a fighter. She fought all her life. She fought the disease. She fought for women, and she was an immense ambassador for making waves and creating awareness for breast cancer, not just in Pakistan, but across the world, because it is one of the most common cancers in women. And, and generally people in the 80s and the 90s would associate cancer with old people diseases and never understand that it could also hit young people, because she was a very young woman when she found out that she had cancer. And she was in her late 20s, early 30s when her cancer was detected. And like Hurmat explained, by her mid to late 30s she passed away. But while she was alive, she brought joy to everyone with her voice, with her unique character, with her personality, which was larger than life. She was very, very poised, extremely well put together. She was very, very well dressed. People in Pakistan used to follow her fashion. And I'll tell you something, I used to have this friend in school. Her name was Seher, and Nazia Hassan was related to Seher. Okay, and I remember when she became really popular, because she and her brother used to live in the UK, and when they moved to Pakistan, and she was visiting Aptabad, her family. So I remember my friend, she's saying that all of you come over to my house for tea, and you can get to meet her and all of that. And she was a few years older to me, and I remember being mesmerized by her, because she was so humble. She was so sweet that when we met her, she did not have any false airs, nothing. Her brother was also there, Zoeb Hassan, but somehow Nazia she just took the spotlight, and he was very quiet, very introverted. I don't have any recollection of meeting him, even though I did. But her, I remember, and I was probably like, so this I'm talking about, I think early 90s, and I was very young, so I'm like 10, 11 years old at that time. And we were meeting a lot of people at that time, because they were Pakistan was different. Our popular icons like Imran Khan and all of them would be coming down to the north a lot. And because of the north being a really small community, if somebody came, you did get an opportunity to meet them somehow. So it was really fascinating. And I remember being really, really enchanted by her. So I'm really glad that you liked her for multiple reasons. One, because she defied the norms. During those times, you have to understand, like in the 80s, when Nazia Hassan became a pop icon, at that time, the only women musicians that you found in Pakistan were in the classic genre. So you had amazing singers like Noor Jahan and, what's her name? Like really, really fantastic. The Khanam, and all of them were like from a very particular genre of classical music, and more towards classical Punjabi music. And we had some Sindhi influence as well, but most of it was dominated by classic Punjabi. And in that time, she came in with this popularizing these funky beats and very catchy music. And you have to understand that that is the time when Pakistan had just escaped from Zia's martial law. So the country itself was, experimenting with freedom, or what it means to have less restrictions and limitations on them. Because like during Zia's martial law, Pakistan, women were suppressed a lot, and it impacted the way women came in the socio-political structure of our society. So you didn't see a lot of women pushing boundaries. Of course, there were amazing women who did a lot of activism, a lot of social work during Zia's time. But when we talk about cultural pop icons, there weren't many that existed during the 70s and the 80s, at least in the music industry. So she was like a breath of fresh air. She carved a way for female musicians in pop industry in Pakistan. And after that, there were many who followed. We had the Benjamin sisters, we had Hadika Kiani, and many, many more. But she truly symbolizes pop culture in Pakistan, even to date. Like a lot of her songs have been remixed, they have been revamped, they have been brought into the mainstream. And I mean, my daughter, she's like 14 years old, and she has also heard, like the sound of her songs, because she heard it playing on the radio or something, and it was a remix, and she thought it was such a fun tune. So on that note, I'm gonna play a small clip of the song for you, and I hope you guys enjoy it. It's in Urdu, so I know that you will not I'm going to be sharing my screen now. Can you guys see? So this was just a glimpse into the music of that time. And I really wanted to share it with you because this is the time when the music for this video was composed by this Indian composer. His name was Biddu. And I wanted you to listen to this sound because it was very iconic for the 80s. You have to understand that the world at large was changing its music a lot. So you had a lot of top of the pops happening around the world. So, and pop music itself was shifting from very Elvis groovy to this new very poppy beats, and these beats were like, there was a lot of music in the background, which was very fascinating. So there was that. Now I'd love to know, what did you guys think of this? Did you enjoy this? There were so many little glimpses. Like, this is a video from the 80s, from the 90s in Pakistan. She sung this song. You can actually see so much fashion, like the way the women were dressed, the colors, the prints. It's a glimpse into the past, which I think is very, very fascinating. So I would love to hear from you, Afghanistan. What did you think about the song? What did you think about her voice? And what would you like to say?
Hi everyone, good morning. This is Lina from Parwan. As I saw the video, it was great. It was perfect. I really love it. However, it was my first time that I heard from she, but I like it, and her song, her sound, yeah, was very perfect, and I wanted to download it and hear it many times. Yes.
Thank you so much. So that is the most unique thing about music, because music has the power to connect people, even though you would not have understood the words, but the melody would have resonated with you. So you can pick up a melody and you can actually connect with it, even if you don't understand music. Like in my office, we all listen to a lot of Farsi music. We listen to a lot of Turkish music. We listen to a lot of Russian music, even though we don't understand those languages. But the whole symphony or the music composition, it really resonates with different moods, right? I mean, we love listening to the Persian ney. We love listening to the to the sound of the dudak or classic orchestra for that matter. Even though we don't understand its words, we understand its melody, and melody itself is it's the most beautiful thing about it is that it does not need language to translate its meaning. You can pick up the you can pick up what the mood is, but just by listening to the rhythm and the melody itself. So I find that very, very good. And I love the fact that, I'll tell you why women are very important in the music industry as well, is because, we all process music very personally. And the way a lot of times music itself is a reflection of the way we look at the world. And we have a lot of amazing male singers or male musicians in the world, and they bring about a lot of beautiful music, but it is a masculine take on music. So I would love to listen to more feminine sounds, because I would love to know how the feminine derives music from especially when we talk about our classical genres. I would love to know how the feminine develops it, how the feminine feels it, and how the feminine actually, translates it into a musical composition. So I hope that you take inspiration from Nazia Hassan, not just to become a musician per se, but to always keep pushing the boundaries, always making sure that the feminine is represented, especially in countries like ours, where the feminine is constantly suppressed. So obviously you were reading about fearless women. So you would only have women's stories, but what this book actually does, it tries to tell young girls that feminine can be present in all walks of lives, whether you want to be a pilot, whether you want to be a singer, whether you want to be an explorer, whether you want to sit down and write a book. It is your choice. So, and you cannot let the world define what you can or cannot do. You know, like all of these women became masters in their fields because they refused to become just a accepted profession. You know, they constantly pushed the boundaries of what was acceptable for women to be. I mean, like our first female mountaineer, the first female to climb Mount Everest. I mean, if she had become something else, she would have been an average something else. And here she is paving way for other girls who want to explore adventure, to just go out there and explore it because they believe it can be done. Somebody's done it. So she becomes an icon in setting boundaries that can be broken always. So yeah, on that note, I want to come back to you and I want to ask you, what other genres would you like to talk about? Even if you don't remember the women per se, if you remember something about them, we can push forward and talk more about it from a Pakistani perspective.
Hello, good morning. This is Surya Hakimi from Parwan. So first of all, I'm really happy to see you again in this session. So about just I wanted to mention something about that music. As I hear it from the first time, it was a little enjoyable for me because that music sounds a little classical, but for the new generation, the classical music will be a little boring. But when I hear that one, it's not boring for me. So as you know, it's a very fantastic. Actually, I don't know about Urdu very well, but as you mentioned, music don't need anything to translate it or understand from different languages. So it was a little amazing thing that I heard that music. It was very good for me. And also about the, as you mentioned about the freedom, that music was a little classic, but it's very good in that those girls have the right that on that time they can sing a song. It's a very good thing about that. So and also in Afghanistan we have such a girl too, that such a woman that they start to sing a song and also they have very improved right now, like Nagma, if you hear her name, and also some other girls that start sing a song and also they improve so much in this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that thought. And I am so glad that you mentioned, because I do sometimes feel that because I'm much, much older than you, I tend to become boring. So I'm glad that the choice for Nazia Hassan and not Nujahan, because Nujahan is more classical. So if I would have, I think you would have enjoyed her music just as much, because her music is also so uppity, so peppy, and it's really, really like soul lifting, you know. And I'll tell you something about Noor even though no one mentioned her, but because we're discussing music, you cannot discuss Pakistani music without discussing Noor. So Noor in when Pakistan had gone to war and a lot of our soldiers were on the borders, she sang these amazing songs, right? Especially dedicated to motivating the soldiers at the border, kind of letting them know that the rest of the country was praying for them, was in support of them, was, were praying for their safe return, but not in a melancholy way, in a very courageous warrior kind of way, for women as well, or for the people as well. And these songs motivated the whole nation at a time when we were at war. So it was something that became popular during the 60s 1945 war in Pakistan, but to date, like we are talking 50 odd years later, they are still really, really popular. People still listen to it, they still enjoy it, and get very emotional and very nationalist when they listen to it. Again, because even though you would not understand the words, but you would understand the essence of the melody, which is something which is so powerful. Like I remember there is this piece by Tchaikovsky. It's about the Germans marching in to I forget. It's a piece about how Germany was defeated because it was very, very cold and in Russia. And the Russian weather made it impossible for Germany to invade Russia. Okay. And there's a whole musical piece which talks about that whole episode of war, from the Germans marching in to those bombs and that, and to the defeat and success of the Russians themselves. It's a Russian composition. And it is so powerful that if you just close your eyes and listen to that piece, you will be able to recapture the whole First World War in your minds. And that is the power of true music. So it's brilliant. So I'm going to recommend that piece as well. I'm going to Google it and find it. I think I have it in my inbox, and I will share that with Alina. And Alina, you can share that with your students. I know it's classical, it's Russian and all of that, but you guys must listen to it. You will thoroughly enjoy it. So it's quite fascinating how music works. So yeah, on that note, who else?
Basically, I think that the 99, the Fearless Stories of the Woman, this is the book that is all about the Pakistani women. They show their, they have shown their heroic to their people, and also they had something mystery for the people. We have also some hero women in Afghanistan in different fields, like they are musicians, they are singers, they are journalists, they are doctors, engineers, in different fields. They are the role models for other women inside of Afghanistan. I think that the Afghanistan and Pakistan are the countries that they have many things we can say and share, like the culture that the same they have, and also the way that they wear dresses and some other things. Also, some of another things that is the same between Afghanistan and Pakistan is that the situation of the woman, and that in Afghanistan and Pakistan is the same, I think. Maybe some differences, small differences existence, but not the big differences. For the students, I have one message that try to be a role model for other people, for the citizens, especially the city that you are living in any side that you have interest on that, improve on that side, and also prove yourself for your family, for the society, and also set a goal for yourself that I would like to be a woman that in the future, the books that will be published about the women, the hero women, one of those women should be me in the future, and it is not impossible. And not just for the girls or for the, we can say, women, but also for the boys, that they should also be enthusiastic in this part, that the boys are very interesting in the, we can say, sport, that they should become the great footballists, the great basketballists, and many more things that the society needs them. And also in different fields, that right now we have Rashid Khan in the cricket, in the cricket field, that he is well known, not just in Afghanistan, but also all across the world in cricket. Maybe you know, please become the role models, and it starts from this position that you are as a student, and set great goals for yourself. That is what that is the message that I have for all the teenagers. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I completely second that. I would love to hear from the boys. What did they think about the book? Any particular female that popped out and they were really inspired by, because you see, being an inspiration is not gender oriented. You know, you are an icon. That's it, whether you're a boy or a girl. Um, I truly believe that. But I think because in our society, men and women don't share the same launching pad, uh, that is why we have to constantly talk. But the amazing men are always being spoken of. And men do in our society, both in Pakistan and Afghanistan, have a benefit because we are extremely patriarchal in our structure. And we do value men over women in our society, unfortunately. If a person is educating his children, he always thinks about the boys first. And then if he wants to or is able to, then he thinks about putting his daughters in school. He doesn't understand, there's this really powerful saying that if you educate your son, you educate one man. If you educate your daughter, you educate an entire family. And that is so true and so powerful that I feel that it is something that we must never forget. So I want to know from the boys, which profession and which character from the book did you like?
Nice.
And then mashallah. Hi everybody, hope you're all doing well and be safe from all problems in the world. And I think that great actor in that book, the fearless as the singer, that he made the book so I don't know the meaning of amazing. Sorry, amazing that in these days in Afghanistan, the women don't have such kind of situation that the female males has, because in all of Parwan, I have to say one thing, that in all of Parwan there is one woman that has a shop, and they don't know that how things that they can do and in their city, in their countries. If they know that how things that they can do, they'll develop their countries, and they'll make a lot of new things in their life.
Thank you so much for speaking up and talking about the different genres. I completely agree. Women bring so much color and glamour and so much joy to all fields that they come into, but nothing brings joy like they do when we talk about entertainment, whether that be music, whether that be dramas, or whether that be films, right? Imagine if there is no balance in the characters and it's all men doing stuff, so it would become quite boring, right? So I agree that all of these wonderful women who are actors and who are singers and who are directors and producers, and all of them are fantastic. I'm really happy to see that all of you are very interested in the entertainment industry, which means that there is a lot of future in Afghanistan for that. I cannot wait for all of you to grow up, go out there, experiment, develop this industry in your country, the whole media industry. And then when we meet, inshallah, sometime in the future, you guys can tell me that, do you remember we had this conversation and now I have my own production house, or I'm an actor actor, or I'm a singer, or, I work with music, I work with the entertainment industry. Because if that is something that excites you, if you feel that is lacking in your country, then that is the industry that you should focus on. I remember I had this conversation with somebody somebody that I really respect. And I was just discussing professions, right? That what one wants to become opposed to as what one should become, right? And he said, when you talk about countries and when you talk about growth within a country, then children should be encouraged to choose industries for their profession which are lagging behind in their country, so they can contribute to that and within that make their choices, rather than just being very focused on what they want. They should always have an understanding of their environment, of their reality, and try to improve the world around them. Because the reason that God made us and He sent us to this world was not just to aimlessly roam around, but it was to create societies which were, worthy of living with each other. The whole idea of community, that is the whole basis of what our religion also tells us, that we are an ummah, which means a community. And a community is made up of people who live together. You create a society which is progressive, which is helping one another, which is providing source of joy to each other. And that is something that we should constantly remember. So yeah, that is something really great to look forward to. Okay, on that note, we have some really lovely messages that have come in from your friends in Pakistan. I'm going to play those for you, and then we're going to talk about our other book, which is 99 Nights in Logar. Unfortunately, I know that discussing two books in one go does get slightly difficult sometimes. So I'm not going to take a lot of time. And I will quickly keep moving from one thing to another.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shehroz Kawar and I am from Grammar School Rawalpindi. Now, talking about the book 99 Nights in Logar, I have read it and I have found it very interesting. And the author Jan Kochai, he writes that a boy he goes out to find his family dog and the story about him. So we are going to read a small summary of the book. I'll let you know what is in the book. So they say that a coming of age story about one boy's journey across contemporary Afghanistan to find bring home the family dog. Blending the grit and immediacy of voice-driven fiction like We Need New Names with the myth-making of 1001 Nights. 12-year-old Marwan memories from his previous visit to Afghanistan 6 years ago center on his continuous relationship with Budabash, the terrifying but beloved dog who guards his extended family's compound in Logar. Eager to find an alley in this place that's meant to be home, Marwan approaches Budabash the way he would any dog on his American suburban block. And the results are disastrous. Marwan loses his finger and Budabash escapes. The resulting search for the family dog is an expertly told adventure, a 99-night quest that sends Marwan and his cousins across the landscape of Logar, moving between celebrations and tragedies, deeply humorous and surprisingly tender. 99 Nights in Logar is a vibrant exploration of the power of stories, the ones we tell each other and the ones we find ourselves. Now, my question about this book on Afghanistan students is that how do you find this book? If you compare this book with your culture and your everyday life, how do you find this book that we can just how you can relate to this book? So my question is that how can you relate to this book from your everyday life? Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Shahid and I am from Grammar School, Rawalpindi. The book Fearless Woman of Pakistan is a very motivational, inspirational, and a wonderful book to read. This book is about the fearless and incredible women of Pakistan who did not let anything come in between them and their dreams. The book has discussed some important figures and personalities such as Malala Yousafzai, Fatima Jinnah, Bilqis Eidi, Zenat Irfan, and many others. There are numerous. The book has discussed their achievements and their goals and how they have achieved them. It is really wonderful that behind every achievement, the woman has to pass through some very difficult and challenging things. One of the most unique and rare achievement that I found while reading this book is that a girl riding a motorbike. It is so in Pakistan because in Pakistan it is not considered a common thing for girls riding a motorbike. Who do so, they have to face numerous challenges. One of the major challenge that they have to face is that the mind in Pakistan, a mindset has been created that a woman cannot ride a bike. Some people have positive views about it, while most of the people, 90% of the people living in Pakistan, do not have positive views about it. They take it as negative. And the second reason is that families do not allow their child to ride a motorbike because of the dangerous accidents that can happen. While riding a motorbike is a very risky thing. So Zenith Irfan, who is 21 years old, traveled solo from Lahore to the north of Pakistan, till Gujarat Pass, on a motorcycle. And um, these type of challenges came, she answered them that if death has to come, it'll come anyway. Even if we're sitting at home, relaxing on our couch, death can come. So she answered it in a way very wisely, and she is the first female motorcyclist to travel alone to the north of Pakistan. So this is really unique and really rare because in Pakistan, no one has done it before. While reading this book, I noticed that behind every achievement, every woman has to pass through some very difficult challenges, and but still they don't give up on their dreams and continue to live their dream. Zenith Irfan also lived her and her late father's dream, and I found it really beautiful. While concluding, I would like to say that all these women are a role model for us and they have set an example. Whenever I think of them, they provide me with some motivation and influence. They have an influence upon me, and I think about them and move on that I can do whatever I want to do. So we shouldn't think what people will think about us. We should think what we want to do, what we feel about ourselves, that I feel proud about myself that I can do this and I want to do this. So we women can do anything they want. We shouldn't think what people think about us or what others will think about us. We should think what we think about ourselves. So all these incredible women have set an example for the next generations to come. And I feel wonderful about it. Thank you.
Alaikum. My name is Ramesh Tehseen and I am from grade 9 Grammar School, Rawalpindi, Pakistan. I would like to share my experience of reading the most extraordinary book, Fearless, which is written by Miss Amina Sheikh Faruqi. I have found this book to be a collection of stories of many amazing women from all around Pakistan who have inspired other women and girls with their struggle against injustice, inequality, and social uncertainty. The stories initiate hope, inspire action, and are a reflection of what these fearless women have achieved despite having limited resources and support. To conclude, I would like to say that our Afghan friends are currently not able to interact with us, but I sincerely hope that this book could inspire them as well to generate hope and to make them come forward and show their capabilities. Thank you and Allah Hafiz. Walaikum.
The Fearless Stories of 50 Amazing Women from Pakistan. This book has stories of some of those superwomen whom we never knew. Their story inspires us in many ways. About the struggle and their journey, I myself felt angry, sad, and went through a lot of emotions along with them. I got to know about many female personalities who came to Pakistan and stayed forever and provide their services for this nation. I loved the way the author highlighted everything about the journey. Some of my favorites were Malala, Shamim Akhtar, and Rutfa, especially Malala Yousafzai. She became a victim to a Taliban attack for writing a diary on girls' education, due to which she went through a critical situation. Now she is one of the most prominent citizens of the country and is the youngest Nobel Prize holder. This book inspired me a lot. I learned that we should never give up on our dreams and that we should have courage and confidence in ourselves.
So these were the stories from your friends as they were reading the book. I have one other thing that I'd like to share with you, which is about 99 Nights in Logar, a book that you all read. And I thought it would be really nice if you heard what the author had to say about writing this book, about his experience with whole story, and why he wrote the story itself. So I have here a clip from Jamil Jan Kochai, who is the author of 99 Nights in Logar, and I'm just playing it now.
So I grew up here in California in America, but I was born in Peshawar, Pakistan, and I came to the States when I was about 1 year old, and so I grew up my whole life sort of being told stories about Afghanistan, being told stories about my father's village in Logar and my mother's childhood in Logar. And we would also visit from time to time. So when I was 6 years old, we went to Logar, Afghanistan for the first time. And then again, when I was 12 years old, in 2005, we went to Logar, Afghanistan again. I spent about 4 months there. And, you know, I really loved the village. I really loved Afghanistan. I really loved the people, the Afghan people. I really loved, you know, when I was there in Logar, I felt more loved, and I felt more friendship. And I felt more, you know, companionship from my cousins and my family members and the other villagers there that I met in Logar. That it really just stayed in my heart. It lingered in my heart for a long time, and these memories stayed with me. And so as I got older, you know, and I began writing at the university here in California. The only thing that I really wanted to write about were these memories that I had of Logar and of my father's stories and of my mother's stories, and really that was really the main reason I think I began writing this book, was because I wanted to explore these memories again, because I wanted to be there in those times again, with my cousins and my friends on the, in the roads of the village, swimming in the streams, climbing the trees, and sort of experiencing that again. And so, for me, it almost wasn't a choice. I felt like I had to write these stories down. One of the most difficult parts of writing this book was first like the historical research that went into the book. I really wanted to, in the book, I'm exploring history in Logar and of what happened, in my father's home village in Logar, Afghanistan. And it was important for me that I made sure that I got certain elements of that history correct, that these incidents that occurred, that I brought light to those incidents. And the other thing was, there are also other elements of this book that are very personal and that are very precious, especially to my father. Certain parts of the book, I'm exploring my family history, and I'm exploring very tragic events, the death of loved ones, the murder of loved ones. And when I was writing those chapters and when I was writing about those people, it was really important to me that I did justice to those stories, that I made sure that I told like a certain truth about those stories. And so I would make sure I would go and I would interview my father, and I would talk to him about these times. And those were, I think, some of the most difficult conversations that I would have. It's very difficult for my father about the Soviet war and the things, the killings and the bombings that occurred in Lod at that time. But alhamdulillah, my father was very supportive of the book. My family has been very supportive of the book. So anytime I had a question or I needed them to retell me a story, they've always been very willing to help. And so, I think without their support, I might not have ever been able to finish this book. I really owe a lot to my parents and to my family as a whole. It's really important for me that any of my readers, no matter what their age or what their background or where they're coming from, but I really wanted them to just be able to enjoy this book. Like, it was really important for me that this book was funny, that this book was a joyous experience, that it felt like an adventure while reading this book, because I wanted those elements to sort of be as important as the deeper messages of the book about war and history and violence or whatever else. So I wanted the experience of the reading of this book to both be, a joyous experience, but also sort of, but also an occasion, to be able to reflect upon the ways that violence or war can alter a childhood, or also, an opportunity to reflect upon our own childhoods and our own memories, and the ways that the ways that our own childhoods or our own memories have been changed by different political circumstances that have been out of our hands. I wanted it to be a really, I wanted to be authentic and sort of true to the voices and to the stories that I experienced in my own household, or even in other households with my friends and my Afghan relatives. And so that's why I ended up incorporating those elements of Pashto and Farsi and Arabic or whatever else, just because I wanted it to be true to the voice that I grew up sort of speaking and hearing.
So that was Jamil Jan Kochai talking about his book. And that pretty much brings us to the end of our session. Thank you for being really, really amazing, for sharing your thoughts, for reading the books, for being willing to learn and think outside the box, which is one of the most important things. If anyone from Afghanistan would like to talk about either of the books or have a parting message for us, we would love to hear it.
In the name of Allah, I hope everyone have a good health, and also the author of this session is about the 99 night in Logar. The author of this book is Jamal John Kochai. Jamal John Kochai is from Afghanistan, and also he was born in Pakistan, and he grew up in America. Okay? And also the story of 99 night in Logar is about a boy named Marwan. Marwan is 12 years old, and his parents and cousin want to travel in Afghanistan, and also Marwan want to found this appear dog. The dog name, I don't know the day. What? Buddha Bosch, the name of his dog, and also he want to found this missing dog, and it's all about 99 night in Logan.
Thank you so much for that. That's very correct. What I not just that it's a story about a boy who's 12 years old, whose name is Marwan, who is visiting his village, and he's talking about this relationship that he has with this dog called Budabash. But what I loved is how Jamil Jan Kochai uses almost fictional kind especially when he talks about the ferociousness and the character of Budabash, the adventures they both go, that the children are involved in. It's almost reading like a fairy tale, because there is reality to a certain angle and when he talks about Logar, when he talks about the people, that is where it is situated in reality. But what the children experience, the whole story of Budabash, of the children, of Marwan finally being friends with him towards the end. And it's like he leaves the ending to our imagination, right? So when you read that book and you come to the end, you are left with a question. Okay, so now are Marwan and Budabash, now do they accept each other? Because throughout the book, we have this understanding that Marwan really wants to befriend Budabash, but Budabash is not trusting him because he doesn't live there. So Budabash is used to having this boy come and go. So he almost doesn't want to trust him, to love him, because he knows that he'll go away. And Marwan, being a small child, feels this connectivity with Budabash, right? Like even when Jamil Jan Kochai was talking about why he felt he needed to write this book, and he spoke about his childhood trips back to Afghanistan, the one thing that he did not mention, but I think which he implied, was that when he came to Afghanistan, he felt a sense of belonging. When he spoke to his people, when he smelled his land, when he was staying in his aunt's house, that felt more home sometimes than California did. Even though he has a whole life in California, but there is something very, very poignant and nostalgic about coming to your ancestral home. And that is something that is very emotional, and something that I think the book is trying to pay a tribute to. So yeah, I thought it was a lovely read. It had so much fiction that it really captivates the audience. I mean, I think it should be really popular with the younger crowd. And there's so many adventures, and there are so many fictional events and incidents that take place in the book that really get your imagination running. So yeah, that was lovely. Anybody else would like to talk about the book?
Hi, Miss. This is Marwazi. I just want to mention one thing that the character Marwan, we had it in two books. The first book, which was Sea Prayer, we also had Marwan character over there. I know that they're the different personalities, but this name was similar for me because we have it in two books. And also one thing about the music that you played for us, actually, मुझे इनकी बहुत नहीं आता है थोड़ा सा थे. So I think it was a romance. It was a romance song, and I'm always thankful of my mom because lots of time she just listened to Hindi music and she really loves it. So I also had to listen to the Hindi music also. So this is why I just learn a little small sentences and the small words that I can use it in daily words. And sometimes I also watch Hindi movies because it's good to know a lot of language. And also, first, I just saw the author of the 99 Nights at Logar was from Pakistan because it was a misunderstanding. But now I know that he was from Afghanistan and was born in Pakistan, now live in California. So this is all the stuff that like we are not focusing on, like we are not deeply in the book. Actually, because I had exams and then school started, so it was kind of I didn't too much pay attention to the book. But after this, I will just try to focus on other books also because I'm an 11th grade, so this will be good for me to have more information about other books and also the school books. And actually, at the lots of discussions before, I haven't seen your face, so I just want to tell you, Miss, that I really missed you badly. And today I'm really happy that you're here, and it's an honor for me to have you also here.
Thank you so much. It's the same for us. The fact that we did not get to see all of you in February, it really wasn't the best thing for us because I actually felt quite sad because, you guys motivate us. At least for me, I see hope when I see all of you, and I see you people fighting a really tough fight. And I feel so proud of all of you. And I hope and pray that the world is kinder to you than it was before. Anybody else like something before we wrap up?
Thank you very much. I think there is no one to. Okay. We have two of our students. They have this we can say small messages, and some of them. Assalamu alaikum. This is Sama Hafri. So what I got or what I noticed from the Fearless book that really encouraged me or inspired me to read this book was the best character. All of them were amazing, and the best character for me was Shahada Malik. I think she was a military, the first military woman, a doctor woman that she became a doctor in military of Pakistan, and the first one. And what I really like about the book was the last message of each character. That the Shahid Malik message or the last sentence that both every sentence of this book or every last message of each character, I think it's cover a life experience, and I really like this part the most. And a message was, I think, if I remember, it was like I live without regret, and if I had another chance to relive this, it wouldn't be better than that. I think it's a big thing that if one person live, everyone have their own how can you yes, regression in your life. But Shahida Malik, the one person who don't have, or she don't have such a situation, and I really like this character the most. Thank you.
Hello again, and I don't want to miss telling this that I was interested with the woman that was pilot, and that's why I love and fall in love with everything which is in there, you know, with the astronaut, you know, to being an astronaut or airplane or everything, because I think from the air we can see the world from another angle. So when I was a child, there was a movie named The Astronauts, and I thought it's my dream that I want to be an astronaut. And I was talking about this many times, you know, really big stuff, infinitely. So because of that, most of the time my family called me Hawaii, which means you're not in this, you're in the space. So and my message for those of women in here in Afghanistan and Pakistan is that, you know, it really makes me wonder how anyone could be blind to all this signs so clear that we just need to open our eyes. And I am sure that we will surely see the light. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You gave such an amazing message at the end that I don't think I can top your message. It is all about seeing light at the end of the tunnel. I'm so glad you want to be an astronaut. I am sure you will be the best astronaut in the world, and you will have your own mission, and you will land on the moon or maybe somewhere else. I don't know, but pursue it, because the women that you read pursued their dream and made it a reality. The only difference between your dream and your reality is hard work. And hard work is the only distance you need to travel. And I am sure all of you will be able to achieve whatever you put your heart and your minds to, because you are all a gift from God. On that note, I'm going to sign off from here, wishing you lots and lots of joy. And inshallah, we'll talk more with another book next month. Ta Hafiz.
Bye.